Welcome to Midday Repartee. This is Rotan Glory. I am joined today by Scotland's greatest shit superhero and CG's best shit artist, Captain Fuckhead. How are you
You're
doing?
never going to get that right, are you?
What was wrong on that one?
It's
What was
best
wrong?
shit superhero, best shit artist.
Oh, I thought one of them was greatest.
No. I've never claimed to be the greatest, only the best.
Okay.
Welcome to the reparty, people.
The reparty. I like that. Good. Good. Also with us today is Mitchell. Always great to have you.
Good to be here.
Yes.
Best mod in
And
CG. And I'm not saying that ironically.
hail to the chat. Thanks you guys for being here. If you can share out the show, that's always appreciated. Today, I thought we could do a little live brainstorming session. This came up a little bit on yesterday's show, but I thought it was something that we could spend a lot more time on. And that's, growing ComicsGate and also, moving forward just in general. How are we going to go about creating new comic book fans? Which is, it's a huge hurdle right now as distribution points are shrinking. Comic shops aren't faring too well for a number of reasons. So it's like, how are we going to get these books in front of the next generation of readers? How are we going to make those new fans? So, yeah, I thought it would be good to, just get some ideas flowing. And I'm actually going to take notes while we do it. Hopefully, we have some good ideas. Maybe fill this page up before the show's over.
It's useless coming to me for ideas, honestly. I'm a fucking moron.
Not a chance, man. Not a chance. I did want to, I was going to do like an Allegiance Arts update on yesterday's show, but we just didn't have time for it. And, however you feel about the whole, there's negativity around Allegiance Arts and Red Rooster and the campaign and not getting the book to backers. And in the midst of all that, putting together this Walmart deal to get comics in Walmart. But if I just divorce from all of that, all of the noise of that, and just look at the legitimate attempt to get comic books in front of young people in Walmarts, in a place, these could be people that have never actually held a comic book, have never seen one physically. So I think that's, it's an authentic, legitimate attempt to do that, which is, I'm really curious to see how it goes. Unfortunately, I was checking out their website and their YouTube channels, and Mitch's main channel hasn't had a video in a month. The official Allegiance Arts YouTube channel is kind of a non-starter. 7 months ago, there's only a couple vids, 39 subscribers, and on their official website, there's one news entry, and it's from February. So even if I don't know anything about ComicsGate, anything about what's gone on, if I just picked up one of those books in Walmart, and I'm like, I want to learn more about this company and go see what's happening. And I go to these sites, and it looks like it's already kind of dead in the water. So that kind of, it doesn't seem to be going too well to me, What do you guys think about, what do you think about that whole, like that attempt?
I think that is a good attempt. I think that they're on the right track trying to get it into more stores so it's not just specialty stores. I do also think that they need to have more of a media presence. The problem is that they kind of wrote themselves into a little bit of a corner because it could have been a lot of negative media presence, like social media presence, because they'd upset so many people with their kind of Red Rooster and how they handled that one shipping out. And I think they were trying to avoid that because they're like, dude, we don't want to make this, launch this, do this whole thing, and have all these guys that we pissed off with this Red Rooster issue come over and just decimate any good thing we've tried to get rolling, you
Right.
know?
Yeah,
And
I get
so they kind of shot themselves in the foot. I think they do need that social media, but until they fix their Red Rooster issue, they're kind of
Yeah, I
stuck.
can see that. I can see that dilemma. like you're saying, it probably would. Anything they try to get going on social media probably would have a lot of that. It's going to be present. It's going to be there, which is only going to baffle the new fans coming in. But to not have anything, at the very least, you could keep your website updated with, you know, some new news updates. What, you know, stuff that's coming, exciting, some photos of the books in the stores, and like, you've got to keep it alive. You've got to keep it present, so the people that explore your sites at least know that it's active, because it doesn't look like there's any activity at all, and that's a shame, you know.
I don't know the Brightwisers from. I don't know them at all. Like I barely even know of their existence, and I've been in ComicsGate for just over a year. They're not anybody that really crops up that often, except when this Walmart thing came through, and the dissension, I think, is the only way I can describe it, of the people who backed Red Rooster was very, very clear. And I think when you get into a situation like that, when you're putting books into stores before your backers are getting them, you'll paint yourself into a corner. And the only way out of that corner is to have a fucking spine and attack it head on and deal with it as a problem that it is. But deal with it in a way where you explain to your backers what's happened, why it's happened, and assure them that they're going to get their fucking books. Like, it's not difficult. If you're in if you're any business, should as soon as you paint yourself into a corner, the last thing you do is retreat, because as soon as you retreat, everyone forgets about you, and then you're done.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and that's, and we've talked about this before, but you know, Ethan Van Sciver, obviously with the first Cyberfrog, was a lot later than he would have wanted, and it pissed a lot of people off. But he just held himself to the fire every single day, didn't stop engaging. Like you said, he did what you need to do in that situation, which is reassure people, be present. Don't, if it looks like you're hiding, if it looks like you're shutting down, this is the last thing you want to be presenting in that situation. So yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, and I would just, you know, I want new readers, I want new fans to come to comic books. So there's a part of me that's like, despite all of it, and I do agree with a lot of people that it wasn't done properly, this deal with Walmart, I still want it to succeed, because I just want those new comic book fans to be made. I want them to know what it feels like to hold a comic book, to see that really cool art, and to get pulled into that world. I want that to happen, and it does seem like it is a way that can happen. But what are there other things that we could be doing? You know, even, you know, as independents, as part of ComicsGate, are there things we could be doing to try and create those new comic book fans? You know,
I think the first thing I want to say on that, because it's relevant, I guess, to what's happening with the Brightwisers about trying to get books into people's hands. What Mr. Sameti and Atul Turner are doing with the couple of projects that they've picked up is a very, very sharp move for everybody. Like, it works out for everybody. Because you're getting the people who have already backed the books are getting premium products. The people who are buying it through Turner are getting newsprint of the story. It's a way of buying them in. Then hopefully they then come and get the premium product back off Mr. Dracula and the other. I can't remember. I can never remember what the second campaign is that's doing it. But
yeah, you've mentioned that before, and you said there was a second one. I'm not sure either. Gargoyle, welcome.
I remember
to the
having
show.
a conversation with somebody.
Hail,
Sorry?
Rotten. Hail, Captain. Hail, Mitchell.
Hey,
What's happening, El?
It's going.
El Gargoyle, that was a fantastic unboxing video the other day, though.
That shit was hilarious, wasn't it? I was dying. I was like, oh shit. I fucked this one up. It was all promoted and everything. Is Captain Fuckhead sent me this. This is gonna be so awesome. Then it turned out to be fucking
Tales from a Classroom.
Thank you.
Yeah. I remember.
And you know what's even worse is I did not have any knowledge about the package, so I'm looking at the books. I'm like, okay, this is a variant. There's some extra pages here. They look printed different. Okay. And then Rob, he's nice enough to comment everything, but I guess he's like, look at this retard.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I can't remember. Somebody on a previous Midday Repartee had brought up the possibility of kind of using the alternate comics model with the really affordable newsprint comics, but trying to get them into dollar stores.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep, it's kind of stuck in my head, and I really think this is a powerful idea, because at a $2 price point per book, I think it's a product that dollar store would engage. There are, I mean, I don't live in that big of a city, and I don't even know. There are quite a few dollar stores just in this. So they're all over the place. They're spread throughout the country. You've got a situation where kids are kind of like probably pretty bored in there. They're going to go right, if there's a spinner rack or a display of comics in the dollar store, I think it would work.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I think that currently our biggest problems for, like, if we want, like, ComicsGate to bring these people in, bring people who aren't buying comics in, I think our biggest problems are the cost of entry and the time between products and the time you get your product in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
That would fix that, because if you're new, you want to pick it up now. You see this book you like, and you're like, dude, I've never really read a comic, but it looks cool. You want to put that in the cart, and you want to check out, and you want it like Amazon Prime, like 2-day delivered, or you want to just get it in your hands that very day. So having those long wait times really is kind of like a turnoff, because by the time they get the product, they might not be as excited for it. You need to keep that excitement and build that excitement a bit in order to kind of make it into a hobby, into something you're very interested in.
Yeah. I mean, welcome to the show, Smiling Bandito. Always
Hail and well met. Great to see you guys. Gargoyle, Mitchell, Captain Fuckhead. Cheers.
Hail, sir.
Cheers.
Thank you, Rob 10.
Of course. Yeah.
Rock, can I just add one more thing to the newsprint story before we
Yes.
leave newsprint? So on Growing Comics, on that same show, we had the idea of getting, if you didn't want to go through Alterna, you could get collections of creators working together on a single campaign, producing newsprint versions of books they have done previously. So you could buy a little collection of books by a collection of people through one campaign.
That would be a great idea.
Okay.
But you'd have to do that.
So you're saying it would be a collection of individual books, not printed together in one?
Well, no. I to do that, for me, I would want to do that on. If I was a creator, I'd want to do that as a newsprint project. I'd still want then the individual campaigns to be the premium product. But then
of course.
if you're selling if you've got 3 books in one package by 3 different creators, the biggest advantage with that is if you can do it in newsprint, you're cutting postage as well. Because the newsprint's obviously a lot lighter, but then you're getting 3 books say you only pay $10 for them each. You're getting 3 books for $30, and you're paying $10 shipping. So you're getting 3 books for $40. Over here, probably be about the same, but in pounds. But at least you're getting a buy-in to other stuff again. So it's another way of growing the eyes on particular comics or specific creators, as it were.
Right. Yeah, and I almost feel like this kind of falls into both categories. This could be a way to help grow CG, because it would give a more affordable entry point. Because that's a very realistic barrier, I'm sure, for a lot of people.
It would also help people with drug dealer bank accounts.
Well, yeah. no matter what you're doing in life, you always want to consider what's the impact on drug dealers. That's
Oh, so we're
really
helping out
important.
my businesses here. Okay, well, good.
Yes, yes, that's key.
I'm glad that I
did,
joined.
I did suggest on one stream. I can't. Well, I don't think it was yours, Rob, but I'm actually going to do a 24-page book. I'm only going to do the first 4 pages because the pages are going to be laced with LSD, so you have to finish it.
You finish it on your own. You just I remember you saying that. That's a really funny idea. I like that.
So, quick question: are we talking about detractors from each idea, or are we just kind of putting up ideas as the positives that we see in them?
Yeah, let's just, I'll write down the ideas that seem like they maybe have some weight, like they might actually work. Yeah, let's just brainstorm them. Even if they're maybe not very good, I'll pop them up here, and we can detract from them as well.
Okay.
I think that's fine.
The problem for a lot of the suggestions that have been put up, Hail Wiggle Wiggle, I see you in chat there. Awesome to see you here, man. One is coordination. Mm-hmm. So like the Brett Weisers, with their joint efforts, that took a huge amount of coordination that probably was more stressful than even just putting out the comic book, right? So I mean, you're asking creators to take on extra stress by having to coordinate each other's books.
Yeah.
But
well, if I could interject there, I think we're talking about projects that have long since been completed.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like the
So
premium
now
product has
we're
already
doing a new
been
campaign. Yeah, we're doing a new campaign with the overprints kind of thing.
Or as a newsprint product, something completely much lower price point,
lower cost,
it's lower quality. Obviously, we wouldn't have all the stretch goals. It would just be an economic way to get comics into hands. Now,
gotcha.
I mean, some people kind of don't like that idea, I think, because they feel like, well, why wouldn't I just wait to get the lower cost book in my hand? And some people are going to feel that way. I want that premium product myself. I love that.
Collectors want collectibles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, with one suggestion that hasn't been listed is I think we actually already have a model from Ethan in how he is doing his collector cards with his people that have signed up on his channel. It's not something that he's doing every month. It is something that he's doing, he says, every 6 weeks, 2 months, or something like that. And I think that's actually a model you can replicate through Subscribestar or Patreon. So where people are signing up to your book, and it is now a bi-monthly thing that you're shipping out. And you end up having to coordinate that as well to make sure that the artist is going to be on top of that, to make sure that everyone's going to be, like, it becomes a job now. It's not just a project that they're doing.
So almost like you're saying, it's almost like a subscription model.
We become a bit more, certain people can become a subscription model. Now, someone like, this actually, I've been thinking about this because I think it's easier for writers than it is for the artists to do something like this.
Sure.
So someone like Zach, he was able to throw up Pandemic on the spot because him as a writer, he was just like, I just got to get an artist for this. I just got to find someone who's available, and he priced it at a point where people are going to pay for it, $15, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, if he did that, if he had a running series that he simply had on Patreon built the same way as that campaign, don't you think people would go over and be like, yeah, $15 a month, I'm there, or $10 a month?
That's a really cool idea. People just sign up. It's a monthly. They just get the monthly thing. It's an automatic charge probably, and they're like, yeah, I'm investing into this product. However often it could be by every 2 months.
2 months.
Whatever the team can do.
Well, and then as the Patreon grows, you can add more things into the subscription, because that $10 a month ends up going further and further and further the more people that are behind it. So if 1,000 people are suddenly putting
Right.
$10,000 into a campaign every single month, that comic book becomes super affordable to put out every 2 months.
Yeah,
Is there enough books?
But
I'm kind of digging that.
the problem I see is also with the actual price point, though. So how can you do? Pretty much, you're charging double what normal monthly books are out of like Diamond or out of the local comic book shop. Where's the
Well,
true
What's the reason? The reason for
value
that?
for?
Well, no, because the book itself would be the same as any campaign book. It wouldn't be printed on newsprint or anything like that. At least as far as my model would go for me personally. And so the more people that get behind the book, the cheaper that printing cost becomes every single month.
Absolutely.
And the only drawback, like, because I like thinking about the detractors as well. The only drawback I see is the artist being able to keep up with the work.
That's obvious. That's really an artist that can do a monthly book is, kind of a rare thing. I think, especially it's not. If you're cranking out the kind of stuff Marvel and DC are kind of doing right now, it's maybe not that difficult. But when you're looking at a typical CG project, that's probably not all that realistic. But this model, to me, even if it every 2 months, I think would be fine, and it could even have stretch goals if you think about it.
Absolutely.
Like you're saying, the print cost goes down, the more people that are engaging, and say, okay, when we hit 1,000 backers, subscribers, you're going to also get a trading card with each book.
There you go.
I don't see any reason why it couldn't kind of behave almost the same way as a campaign. It's just an ongoing campaign that's always building. It's very interesting, man. That's a cool idea.
I think it's difficult for any new creator, definitely. I think it's difficult just to jump into that.
Sure.
But I believe there is, I kind of feel like Zach already did it. I feel like that campaign he did for Pandemic is exactly what I'm talking about. And it's got a quick turnaround. He did it because he was motivated by the topic, right? He was motivated by the needing to be on the trend. And so he was able just to throw money into it, right? So, I mean, it's difficult, I think, for new creators to be able to do that. I don't think it's necessarily a model that, any of us could simply say, yes, let's just do that. Right. But I think it is a goal to be achieved, or a potential.
Yeah, like someone like Adam Post, who's been doing this an awful long time. He
actually, perfect example.
Could do it.
Perfect example.
Absolutely pull it off. And
additionally, you can bring other people into it based on your previous idea. Not with newsprint comics, but where you can have it where you're alternating books. So you have one book, or you could alternate artists as well. You could have one book. So each book is coming out bi-monthly, but through that subscription, you are getting one book the 1 month, and then you're getting the next book the next month. You're getting one book from one title 1 month, and then you're getting another book from another title the next month.
Oh, that might even work better, because then, just like Edwin's brought up here, even by, every 2 months might not really even be feasible.
Yeah.
So you could do that if you just had 3 different titles.
There you go.
Working together. So it'd be every 3rd month you get the next issue in that title.
Yeah.
I
think
it's worth exploring. It's a really interesting idea, man.
Yeah. Well, and for me, this is actually the thing that I'm working towards. That's why I'm on here vocalizing it. But in my case, it is, I do have 3 titles that I'm going to be looking to put out, not this year, but like I said, this is a goal to achieve. But those 3 titles will be alternating each month, and they're all in the same world. So you're essentially getting a story that's in the same world every single month. from 3 different artists.
Right.
And each title is going to be each recurring month. So
Yeah. What I love about this idea too, the benefit I kind of think is that rather than starting from zero every time you launch a campaign, you're continuously building one campaign.
exactly.
So that
There's
almost
a,
I feel like that's actually could be really powerful.
there's a gentleman already trying to do that right now.
Oh,
yeah?
really?
I can't say his name right, but he's ComicsGate.
Okay.
He's actually a moderator for Caesar. Indigenous Monstrositus X. He's got like 25-year whole universe set up, and
Okay.
he's trying to look for co-creators and helpers to make his stuff. He literally made sketches off of train ads from public transportations on his commute. Pray for him. He's in the city.
Oh, right. Yeah.
No, that's horrible. But you know what? Good ideas aren't found in a vacuum. I mean, like, even if this is something that would be effective, it's not like I'm the only person who's going to be thinking about it.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be really curious to explore that. I like it a lot. Cool. I like that you brought that to the table. Now, I mean, I don't know if again, I think it's something that could fit in either category. It could help grow CG. I think anything CG can do that makes it more regular, makes the flow of comic books to people more regular. I think is a benefit. It will help grow it.
Well, definitely. Like, how many people have said that it's habitual? Like, this is just as habitual as gambling or drinking or anything. You know,
Right.
you show up. It is the healthiest of the bad habits, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's cool, man. That's really cool. So on yesterday's show, a little bit, it came up, trying, maybe legitimately trying some advertising for CG projects. Getting some promotional material in those places where young people are congregating, whether that's, popular online platforms, whatever it may be, but legitimately trying to actually advertise. And I don't know, like, do you guys have any thoughts on, is that just not worth it? Is it worth experimenting with? What do you think?
The problem is if you're advertising, you gotta depend on other people to promise up on those dates.
yeah,
So what do you mean by that?
advertising.
I personally, I don't think that it's that effective unless you're at the right spot. Like, if I'm not if I go to Comixology and they are advertising a cool looking book, I'll click on the link and check on the cool looking book on Comixology. But if I'm looking at cars or something and there's a comic book ad, I'm not gonna click it. Chances are, no matter
Right.
what, because I'm not there for that. I'm like, dude, now that just looks like some clicky ad,
Okay.
So you have to
So you're
really
saying
know.
it has to somehow be connected to whatever platform it is, or whatever. It can't just be out of the blue, like comic book.
Yeah, you can't
And it
just.
has no place being there.
You know
Yeah.
what? I can't fucking talk now. Where I think would be a nice place, certainly it would get my attention, would be having spinners in cinemas. Because you're already there for
Ooh.
stories.
Oh, you guys
That's where the
hear about that?
arcades. That's where the arcades are going to now, right? So
But if you put
Oh.
if you put all that sort of stuff there, if you're going out for specifically to go and read or watch a story, why wouldn't you be interested in others that are there? So, how many kids have been taken to go and see the fucking Marvel films?
I know. And if there had been a spinner rack with Iron Man just outside the movie theater, they would have cleaned out.
No, put it in the movie. Put it in the movie theater. Put it where you go and buy your popcorn and all that sort of shit. So you go in, you get your popcorn, you come out, you buy comics.
Yeah.
You hear the news, Captain?
How? Apart from
It's in the
cinemas
United
dying.
States. Yep, cinemas are gone. AMC is about ready to sign the papers to shut down.
Yeah, that doesn't
What's
surprise
the
me.
future?
I almost made that the topic today. I was like, are movie theaters just going to die forever? I mean, of course, there's going to be, I think, the smaller art house theaters, I think, will always be around. But are the big blockbuster movie type theaters, a thing of the past with everything that's happened.
They're finished. We spoke about this on another show, and I'm adamant they're done simply because the amount of money that has to be spent on the film is ridiculous, and you think they double that just for advertising to get people to go and sit in the cinema, and you pay $15 a ticket, but by the time you've spent $15, what am I? Fucking £15 for a couple of people to go and see it, and by the time you've finished in there, you've walked out and spent £50. Like it's like I just want to watch films at home, if I'm honest. Like I can't. There's the other thing I hate about cinemas as well. I do like watching films with other people, but I hate it when they fucking talk and I can hear them eat. Like it just winds me up. Whereas now I can turn all my lights off. I've got a little LED strips around the outside of my living room, so I know where I'm fucking walking. And it also makes it look like a cinema. Shut my curtains, turn all the lights off. Got a decent sound system, and when I need to pee, I don't have to do it in a bottle.
Right.
Well, here's the situation I'm in. I've almost been half tempted shooting motherfuckers in a movie theater just because people here, they yell, they pull out their phones, they're text messaging, making noise, they're watching viral videos. Why are you watching viral videos when you're paying to watch a large screen fucking movie?
Yep.
So you've got what seems to be a declining level of respect by other moviegoers. You've got people now hyper concerned and afraid to be near other human beings. All of these things are combined, and people have fallen out of the habit because they haven't been able to go for months. It just seems like it's a perfect storm for these theaters, just maybe not making a comeback at all.
Out of curiosity, did you guys get basically we're declared lockdown till June 30th for another month. We just got out of quarantine, and now everybody has to stay inside for another month.
That's insane.
Nah, they're releasing a lot of stuff, like manufacturing's coming back to where I'm at next week. So like we're already kind of unlocking stuff, but we're not too affected by the other kind of craziness that's going on in the world. Like as far as some of the more violent, like kind of like riot kind of stuff, we're a little bit distanced from that.
Yeah, we heard. We live fairly close to downtown. It's a small place, but we actually heard like what sounded like some attempt at a protest downtown. Like there was some shouting and chanting, and I'm like, what are you morons doing? Seriously? Like it just infuriates me, man. Like, and how is this being who's actually organizing these things? Is there funding behind it?
Soros.
Like,
George Soros.
Who the hell is organizing a protest where only negative things are happening across the country? Let's have one in our small town. Yay. What a fucking joke. Anyway.
Sorry, I had to step out there for a second.
No problem.
Are we still talking about movie theaters?
Well, we kind of concluded that they're probably done for, but yeah. Did you have something to add to that?
No, I think 6 months ago that would have been a fantastic idea. Arcades, they moved into movie theaters and they found quite a bit of success. With that, I know one person says that it makes more. The person who works there said it makes more than any one movie in the theater itself. So
no way! Wow, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
Well, because you got a lot of kids that are being dropped off and they're waiting for the next movie to show.
Yeah, exactly. And you can send the kids to the arcade while you go and get popcorn and snacks and that kind of stuff. So. Yeah,
spinner racks in theaters would have been great. It's too bad, the companies that should be working to grow a reader base and new fans just don't seem to give a flying fuck about it. So that never happened.
But you can apply that. You can apply putting them into spinner racks to any other place where people go looking for stories. So why haven't we got them in libraries, as an example? I know, obviously. Well, you might, but I've never seen a comic book in a library in my fucking life.
It's in the periodicals with all the newspapers.
Yeah,
and they have a big back catalog.
It's actually quite scandalous. It's actually quite scandalous because these programs with libraries buying these, and they're usually the worst, wokest trash comics, right? But
Yeah,
they're using it to boost their numbers to make it look like they've actually sold copies, but it's just going to libraries. You
yeah,
know?
but I wouldn't do it that way. I would use, because libraries already take money. Like, they already have the facility to take money. So why can't they actually just sell comics?
Because I'd rather pick up the free ones if I'm going to the library. When I was going to the library, I didn't have a job. I was going there because I couldn't afford to buy a comic book. Like, I never bought an issue of Uncanny X-Men because my library would get them, and I could sit there pretty much like in a week or two after it's been out, and I could read it in the library, and then I could put it right back on the shelf, and I didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's why.
It just seems like there's already a ton of evidence that spinner racks worked in, like, convenience stores, little gas station marts. We've brought up dollar stores. Where kids are they're going to be there. Young people are going to be there, and it draws their attention. They see this cool cover. They're drawn into it. We already know it works because it worked before.
Of course, that's where their parents get gas.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we just got to make this happen again. I think it's imperative that they've got to be out in the world where people who don't know about them see them. Right now, you have to seek out a comic book. You already have to want it, basically.
Yeah.
That's probably a better way of...
Well, and like it was said,
Probably-
Marvel had the best advertising campaign out there with all the movies that were coming out, and then they changed all the comics, all the
They
characters
changed
in the
all
comics.
the comics, and they never once in a single movie, at the beginning or end, had a call to action to go buy a comic book.
Exactly.
Not a single
So-
damn time.
Yeah, but
It's so bizarre.
the other thing with advertising is that it is considered to be an expense when
Yes.
that is backwards thinking. So, like, you look at everyone's seen a Ty Lopez commercial that plays at the beginning of a YouTube video. No, Ty Lopez. He's a guy who's like everyone's seen the "Let me help you make money." Let me teach you.
That guy.
Yeah.
That
So
dipshit.
every time that someone accidentally clicks on those, and every time that it shows at the beginning of a video, it actually is linked directly to his YouTube channel. So he gets paid every single time it plays.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
So
Right,
he actually, the reason he became, or not the reason he became a millionaire, but the reason that he does those advertisements isn't because he's trying to get people to his program. He's doing it because he's making money off of it.
That's crazy. I never even considered that was a possibility.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So when
That's
we
why-
think about advertising is great. I think that there are, anytime that you get the opportunity to get your face out there, do so, right?
Well, it seems to me that video games and comics should be. There
They
has
will
to
be.
be a huge amount of overlap of people
Yeah.
who like comics and also play video games and vice versa.
Not so much
Advertising-
anymore.
Well,
but there used to be.
But what if
There still is.
if you
is
advertised
overlap,
in a video game magazine for a comic book, it seems like a natural, like you're gonna get some attention from it. I think because
Yeah.
it's the same
Yeah.
kind of, it's the same flavor.
Think about comics and video games the same way as you think of a subset inside ComicsGate. The video games is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes.
Comics,
The biggest.
comics, even the mainstream, even the most profitable comics are still only reaching hundreds of thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a very small, even if there is an overlap, it isn't like reaching the video game industry means that you're going to catch all the over. It doesn't mean that you're going to catch a large overlap with that
Right.
group.
Yeah. You
But
also
it's like,
have to-
then you even have the possibility. I mean, this would be more mainstream, but like, if it's a comic book that is also a video game, I mean, why you think that would just be a natural, like, you like the game, go buy the Batman comic book. You know, it seems like that these companies should be doing that. Again, Marvel and DC, they just don't seem to give it. They just don't seem to care about promoting this medium to anyone. So I
Yeah,
don't
the
get it.
problem
Yeah.
is they did a perfect thing with Batman, but at the end they were like, "Oh, we made this new character," but he wasn't. He was a fucking Red Hood. It was a Red Hood fucking story.
Yeah. Yeah, and that happens all the time in entertainment. They repurpose all the old stuff. I mean, that's what the Marvel movies were based on. It was just repurposed portions of repurposed stories. So
So
Where
do you
else,
think there's any potential in advertising on YouTube for ComicsGate projects? Is there
well, what if
anything to
we?
that?
What
we
if?
already are.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Like actually going the official, like let's pay for an ad rotation.
If we do it the Ty Lopez way, you can make money doing it.
That's
So
fascinating.
yeah,
That's fascinating.
I think there is a way to do it, but Ty Lopez spent. I can't even guess the number, but I mean, like every advertisement you do costs you money. So are you in a position to put the money up front? That's the deal.
I almost feel like when it comes to if we could come up with as ComicsGate as a group, and this is kind of like why I think doing these sessions can be really valuable. But you know, if ComicsGate came up with a really innovative plan for experimenting with some advertising, there's nothing stopping us from having a we need this much money to see if this works. Let's crowdfund it.
So
Let's
in that,
crowdfund it and see what happens. And it have to be not for a specific project per se, but like just the comic, like a general ComicsGate advertisement. You know.
the other thing about that is that it's not ComicsGate that needs to grow. It's the creators, right? And I think we are forgetting a little bit that, or maybe not forgetting, but overlooking the fact that ComicsGate is about the fans,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
So the idea of ComicsGate growing isn't necessarily what we're talking about. It's about how can creators collaborate in order to kind of get their product out. Because it's not going to be like we've seen ComicsGate try to come together, and that has not gone so well.
Well, yes, but I think there are also plenty of examples of people teaming up within ComicsGate to great.
Mm-hmm. And so what you end up
outcome,
having,
you know, it does happen.
yeah. And so what you end up having is companies coming together. So if John and Ethan decide to do a joint project, it would be All Caps Comics and John doing a project. I can't remember if John has a name, but it wouldn't be ComicsGate coming together. It would be John and Ethan teaming up, their companies teaming up to do a project.
Okay.
Or it would be Ethan buying the advertising. It would be All Caps advertising on YouTube. It wouldn't be
Sure,
ComicsGate.
I understand that, but still, I mean the goal here is to draw people who don't know about comics or don't know about ComicsGate, just getting new people into the fold, new fans, people who might have an interest in reading these books. I mean, if new fans come to All Caps Comics, then those are new potential fans for all of ComicsGate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So anyone
roads-
who can draw in fans from outside the fold,
Yeah.
no matter what creator, what size you are, where you're at, anyone who can do that, that's valuable to everyone in the network.
Yeah, all our roads run parallel, right?
Yeah. One thing that I know I really need to change about my approach to this channel and YouTube in general is, you know, I'm really passionate about ComicsGate but my channel's too focused on it. I need to find another passion. Say it could be film, but I think I need to start producing videos that are not ComicsGate related, that have potential to get eyeballs on those videos that they have nothing to do with ComicsGate, and then you can hopefully pull them into ComicsGate because they like this other content that you're doing. And it's really something I think more of creators need to be doing. It's how EVS pulled me into ComicsGate to begin with, was through the Star Wars material, as a good example.
Fuck Star Wars.
But it's
Yeah.
well, of course, that's
And-
that's what brought me in, because I was like, fuck Star Wars, and I wanted to watch content about people talking about it. Pulled me in, Fandom Menace,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, what's this over here? But now, I think the longer people are in ComicsGate, it tends to be the only thing they talk about on their channels is ComicsGate. So we're losing that ability to pull in outside people.
Well,
You know?
when you do something like that, you also need to look at kind of like what you're talking about. And the problem I see with like Star Wars is that they don't really have a lot going on right now for Star Wars. So I think that
Yeah.
that's why they stopped talking about it. There's no real big hypes going on. Like the next
Yeah,
movies
but-
are kind of delayed. But what you need to do is you also need to keep on expanding into touch on a little bit different things. So maybe, you know, instead of just starting with Star Wars, maybe, you know, talk about a couple other movies or something like that, or have a couple people from
Exactly.
different industries, like Vinny, on his YouTube channel, he actually had a voice actor from Cowboy Bebop on. I mean, like you could do stuff like that, you know,
Yes.
brings fresh eyes
Yes.
onto you. You know, bring different creators on, because there's a lot of different overlaps that you'll see, you know,
Yep.
throughout our community. So you're like, oh, dude, well, a lot of people who already like kind of anime are, you know,
Yeah.
buying my comic book. Maybe I can get some more people that like anime too to come over and take a look at this, right?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go and reach out and let's see if I can, you know, tap that a little bit, like bring that in.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think there is a tendency to just be so hyper focused on ComicsGate that's only going to be of interest to people that are already ComicsGate. It's not going to bring in new people. So, you know, I want to try to refocus what I'm doing to try to I don't know, there's got to be a way. Everybody's passionate about something outside of comics, more than likely. It could be video games, it could be film, it could be fucking hiking in the woods. It doesn't matter. You know, it could be anything that you're passionate about. If you bring that to your channel and bring in people for that, and then you mention, hey, check this out, you might like this. I'm not saying it's going to be a huge overlap, but it's a way to get new eyes on ComicsGate.
That means I'm fucked, because the only two things I'm passionate about outside of this is probably rulers and fire.
Well, what about your manly? You know, you're out there shirtless, working in the garden. You know, growing shit.
Honestly, mate, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in the garden. I can
Well, that's
recognize.
fun too.
I can recognize. I recognize a few. I know what spuds look like now. I don't mean the potato. I mean the plant. I can recognize them. I can recognize other stuff. But look, my philosophy in gardening is it wants to grow. Just stick it in the fucking ground.
I mean, but like one thing is you don't have to be an expert on it, like, or even if you are, you don't need to come off like you are an expert on it. Like, was it like Hoovie's Garage, his huge car YouTube channel, and he buys like the worst cars, and he's like, don't do what I'm doing. I'm gonna buy this horrible car, and it's all about him getting involved in pretty much these money pits. He's like, oh, and it's like one of those fun things. If you have a bit of a personality and you develop like kind of how you can carry your show, you don't need to be the expert in the subject matter. You could just be stumbling through it. You know,
That could almost be more fun for people because they get to learn with you, watch you make mistakes. All I'm saying is, you know, I think it could be anything, whatever your interest may be. It's got to be fun for. If you're just forcing yourself to do it, you know, that doesn't really work. If it has to be a real interest, something you want to do, and you know, I think that it's just something we're kind of losing in CG. Like everything is about CG 24/7, and that's like, okay, we're preaching to the choir. How are we going to make the choir bigger? You know.
So
Kidnap people.
One problem that I see in ComicsGate right now is that everyone wants to make comics. So all of our creators aren't simply YouTube personalities. They're wanting to be comic book creators. And, you know, it's like David Letterman couldn't be an actor. He couldn't be an actor and do his show, right? So he could only do the show in order to bring the actors on. So he ended up being the campaign like a campaign general for these actors who are coming on. But he didn't have time for anything else, couldn't do anything else. He tried at one point in time. He was like, this isn't what I need to be doing. So the ComicsGate right now is all creators and no David Letterman. And unless you are one and the same, like obviously Ethan or Ro, those guys are both, they can be the personalities and they can be behind the scenes with comic book creation.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Unless you're those type of people, there isn't a way to bring in new people that aren't already interested in what you're doing. Yes.
I mean, and we do have more examples of that, like that Umbrella guy, Raging Golden Eagle.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying, though. It's like, yeah, you just can't have it can't be all creators. There needs to be yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know who the answer to that is. Obviously, I'm not, even if I have a gregarious personality that people want to, watch a show about. I'm wanting to create comic books too, right? So I mean, it's a problem that I see. Maybe I can sell my own book, and maybe I can put the shine in the apple for other people, but at the end of the day, I'm looking to create as well. So
yeah, that's interesting.
It's just a lot of introverts and a lot of people with a lot of social disorders trying to get out of their shell. Some people have a hard time going in public. Some people are like dumbasses like me and fucked on film before and now have to force a personality out because otherwise they'll be like, yeet. So kind of like Chris Farley.
Well, it's funny because like I don't suffer from like social anxiety or anything like that. And I don't typically get like starstruck. But the first time I went on Ethan's channel, I was going to be like, you know what? It's great to have comics be exciting again. And it's great to, be a part of a community that is, wanting to have substance in what they're reading. And I just went on there and I was just like, I love you, man. I just, I just love everything about ComicsGate, and it's just like, what? Oh man, what happened?
The same thing happened to Ink Spots as well. He kind of had the same thing happen. So, yeah, I'm sure it's intimidating that first time you get on with Ethan. I haven't tried it yet. I know he occasionally does the open thing, but I've never been around to even be able to try. I'm kind of glad.
Take advantage of it. Yeah,
Make sure
I'm not ready.
Sober.
I'm not ready. No, man, I think it'd be better if I was drunk. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't think he's going to be doing any open shows here in the next little while.
Probably not.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, probably not.
Not with everything going on.
And the human sunbeam has turned his light away from a significant portion of ComicsGate. So who knows?
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sad, unfortunate, but it's hard to talk about and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of at this point. I just want to see how things shake out, what develops from it. There's a lot I don't care for what's going on, but it just doesn't. I don't want to. I probably could get a lot of traffic and views and clicks to the channel by, trying to exploit it or add fuel to the fire. But I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. I don't want to put anybody on eggshells because that's what it feels like at this point. I could say anything and make an opinion, but it's like all I'm going to do is hurt the little guys in the project.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with the Cecil or War Campaign anymore.
Right. I did want to give a shout out to 656 Comics. They they currently have a sign up for. Damn it! I know the secondary tagline is Evolve or Die. It's Undead Border. I think it's Undead Border. Evolve or Die.
Undead Border, Escape or Die. You're thinking
Escape or Die,
my friend.
Right, yes. Yeah. That's right. Well, I hear the Xenotype thing like pretty much daily, so yeah, it's in my brain. Escape or Die, right. But the comic, look, they have a fantastic trailer on their email sign up page. Check it out. It's really well done. The comic looks great. They've been on it for years. This concept they have, really cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mitchell.
Cheers.
Thanks,
I really liked the artwork of it,
Yeah.
and like if you go all the way to the bottom, like that panel where they have the zombies eating people is just awesome. So
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, it looks like a great project. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it. And of course we have Skits Comics. The Skits comic will be launching tomorrow, actually.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that should be an exciting. I'm really excited to see how their launch day goes. They've been building anticipation for months and months, doing a lot of work. The book looks so great. It has that vibe, like when I was a kid and watching like Labyrinth, and it just really has this great fantasy, dark fantasy vibe that I'm really drawn to. So I'm excited about that project.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's so many good, and this is the other thing, is that I don't think we have a problem with content. So you're saying how we have to be doing other things in order to bring new people in. I don't think we have a problem with content. I think if we are, like, I had this dream, I don't know, this vision where I was walking through a comic book shop and it was all ComicsGate books on the shelves. And I was looking around and there was like an entire row of a shiny cyber frog up on the top. And it was like, and then there was, I saw Vestige, and the cover was like all animated and stuff. It was just a dream. I wasn't on anything, I promise. But as I was walking through in this vision, it was like the doors, I could see up to the front of the comic book shop, and the doors were banging, and it was this massive crowd of people outside the doors, and the door was locked.
Yeah.
And it was like, we have all this stuff, we have all this content here ready to be showcased, ready to be shown for people to see, to have eyes on it, to get in their hands. And we've kind of locked the doors. So it's not necessarily where we need to be doing things like ragging on Star Wars or anything like that in order to get people interested. We need to be showcasing all this artwork. So when we have people on shows and we're like, hey, check out this campaign here and here, and here's this stuff, like, what's the reason that Black Cat is, popular among Spider-Man fans? It's not because of the stories. It's not because of the comic books they have. It's because of the fan art, right? It's because Joe Jusko does these amazing paintings and created one of the sexiest pictures of Black Cat that was in a card collection, right? Yeah. It's because when you go online, do you see pages and pages of comic books with your characters? No. What you see is all the artwork that people are doing with all of the characters that they love, right? Yeah. And so the one thing, like, you look at what Drawn and Backhold is doing, where they get the artist on and everyone draws those characters, right? It's
fantastic. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Like, and what a moment for that creator, right? Where he's just like,
it's got to be fantastic to see people bringing their characters to life in their own distinct styles. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
and the measure.
I bought Gen 13 for the Fairchild covers. The J.
There you
Scott
go.
Campbell Fairchild covers, the Witchblade for the Mike Turner, and the Silvestri covers.
And
so what are you saying?
So
what needs
to
happen?
So the measure of how much the fans need to. The measure of what I'm saying. If you look at Cecil, and how much artwork did Cecil get based on just his character being out there, right? And was that because he had a comic book? Was that because, any of that stuff was actually happening at the time? No, it was because he was in front of everything and he was being entertaining. Yeah. We need to make campaigning entertaining. It's not that we need to do other things like ragging on Star Wars and that kind of thing. We need to write our campaigns the same way that we write our books. Our books are written to be entertaining. why aren't our campaigns written to be entertaining?
Like
What's the reason?
a certain communist.
Oh, don't bring up that fucker. Don't.
Once again, it comes to people with who are introverts and who have personality disorders
100%.
have to be forced to come out of their shells and develop a personality. Otherwise, they have to work with a guy with a good enough personality to carry them forward.
Yes.
Exactly.
A lot
So
of
what
people
you're-
aren't good
right.
to come out of their shells half the time, and a lot of people are nervous wrecks. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
So you're saying like more work and attention put into creating from the ground up an entertaining campaign, not just the page itself, but
Yeah.
how you present it, because it can get very stale, man. With like, okay, next, who's gonna go through their campaign, and it
Yeah.
just becomes very monotonous. So
And every
Yeah.
campaign looks the same.
yeah, I see what you're
Right?
saying.
So when we look at how to build that audience, we need to. Then you look at Ethan. Ethan doesn't have an audience because Cyberfrog is well drawn. Ethan has an audience because he's made Cyberfrog entertaining. Every time he goes on, he's just like, I fished frogs out of the filter in the pool, and now it's a running joke. Right? It's a part of who he is. It's a part of it. It ties into Cyberfrog because he's like, Frog is my spirit animal, right? That's him creating a connection that people can actually follow.
Yeah.
And then when you follow the connection, it goes straight to Cyberfrog. If he was just bitching about Star Wars every day, and that was it, and then he said, "Oh, and buy my book," and there was no bridge in
Yeah.
between,
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, of course. There has
He
to be
wouldn't-
that bridge.
there has to be the
Yeah.
bridge. And the bridge is he makes his campaigns entertaining as well.
Yes.
Like every single time it's a goal of, and we're copying it now. What evil is out there to be defeated,
Yes. He's so good about that. Like
right?
the second something is achieved, he's got another entertaining way to frame the next goal.
Exactly.
So important. It's so cool. Yeah, okay. I really
Yeah. And the thing is,
Right.
we're all good
but
writers.
we have to get innovative about it. We can't all just go like, well, I'm going to do it just like EV. Then it becomes boring.
Exactly.
So like
What's your frog story?
Kami Mark has done with Best Korea, he made that entire presentation of that project incredibly entertaining. He created this character, and I think more creators probably should be putting that much energy into the entire campaign process. That's a really good point.
And this also becomes the way we make new comic book fans, because when they see the artwork and they see other people drawing your characters, like when that fan art starts to come in, people are like, well, why are you interested in it? Because we know why the creator's interested in it. Nobody's going to be more invested in your project than you as the creator. So for you to say, hey, I did something cool, people are going to be like, well, of course you think it's cool.
Right.
But when someone
other
else,
people start echoing that by
Exactly.
producing fan art, yeah, exactly, it lends so much power to it, for sure.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
So-
you also, depending on how you design your characters, like you might want to add in some sort of little fan art,
Oh
like fan
my
service
God.
character, just because that's what people keep on looking. That's what gets the likes. Like we could talk to like
Boom.
Lucius Skelehor. We can talk about Raging Golden Eagle. All the stuff that people are sitting there like. There's so many different things. Sex kind of sells, and having that little bit of element could be
Yeah.
something, because we don't really see a lot of people like going in at it in that angle. I'm not saying we need to go like smut, but you need that black cat fan art sometimes.
If you want to, yeah.
Yeah,
You know what?
fair.
You're right. Sex does sell. The S-class variant of Sailor Kim was a fucking classic cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I see only Rotten Mitchell know what I'm talking about there.
Well, you can't even get that anymore. It was only
Sorry,
available
man.
for a limited time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Good stuff.
our problem is simply we're all creators. We're not David Letterman's. We are writing our campaigns all the same. And in order to create something that people want to be interested in, has to be a little bit different. and you have to find other people that are interested in it as well, and you have to cultivate all of that, right? So
Yeah, you've given me a lot to think about, man. I really appreciate what you brought to the table. You brought two very intriguing things to the table today, and I'm going to be pondering them both quite a lot. Good stuff, man.
well,
All
and
right.
keep in mind, our campaigns are meant to be entertaining. That's why we create stretch goals and that kind of stuff, right? Like, it's not
Yes.
like I'm not bringing up anything new. I'm just pointing out what is already being
Yeah,
Out of
I
effective.
think
curiosity,
we all have
um,
this goal of like, let's make an entertaining campaign, but have we actually sat
Exactly.
down and put the thought into what that looks like, what that is? I don't think we have, a lot of times.
what kind of stretch goals would you like? Out of curiosity.
Me personally,
Yeah.
I think. Okay, so for the people who are writers, play to your strengths. Write more stories. So if you have a stretch goal of, let's say you're getting to 20K, I know that many of us don't think of it because 20K is a pretty high mark. Michael Bancroft wasn't thinking about 20K, and now here he is crushing
Yeah.
15K, and he's still got almost a month to
So
go.
well deserved too. That book
Yeah.
is so gorgeous.
So I would say put another story in. Have another character that's just a side story that you can do a 5-page to 8-page or 5 to 7-page story about.
Yeah.
And that becomes the next stretch goal. You can
Those
do
always
that.
kind of make me a little nervous just because it can add a lot of time. And if you're not the artist and writer on a project, that's a lot of extra money to have to
For
pay an artist as well.
not for 5 pages.
Well, 5 pages is 5 pages, man. I mean, it
Depends.
depends on what you're paying your
So
artist.
okay, so if your stretch goal is 20K, from 15K to 20K, it's going
Yeah.
to cost you $1,000 to do those 5 pages,
Right.
roughly,
Yeah.
right? So $1,000 to do those 5 pages, you've just made $5,000, and your expenses, your other expenses, have not gone up nominally because it's only 5 pages. The shipping cost hasn't gone up nominally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, it can certainly be done on the price point.
yeah,
So as long as you don't, it's not like some campaigns I've seen like where we're gonna add 16 pages, and I'm like, well, how long
yeah,
is that gonna take?
yeah. Well, and like I said, you don't do it at a 10K stretch
Right.
goal, right? But I mean, if you are, depending upon what your strengths are, if art is your strength, put in an extra poster,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Put in. I think the playing cards are a good stretch goal. I think they're easy for production.
They are.
Um,
Yeah.
and paper products don't increase the weight. So I think if you're going to be doing, if you're a smaller campaign, just consider whatever paper products you can. If you got a good symbol like War Campaign, right? You throw in stickers of your symbol, that kind of stuff. And but don't create stretch goals that are going to cost you, right?
Yeah.
So don't make
You
it
have to know you have a pie of your baseline price, and you have to know we need to have this much of it be profit,
yeah.
and the rest of it can be worked with in terms of stretch goals and production costs. So you just have to really be on top of that, and you don't want to start giving away your profit
Yeah.
to accommodate a stretch goal. And you've got to have that planned out.
And I think if you know your product, I think the stretch goals tend to speak for themselves. Like sometimes we can't think about it because we've been in it for too long. But like Phil Diaz, they're putting out bandanas, right?
Yeah.
With the mouth of one of their main characters
Yeah.
on the bandana. And it's like, because he knows his product, and that character is front and center all the time. And I think
Yeah,
that
it's really cool.
It's really cool.
I really like improvements to the book itself.
Yeah.
Whether like quality of paper, maybe some embellishment on the
Covers.
cover.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite stretch goal probably in ComicsGate so far has been Vinny Tartamella's through the woods. Now, was that? I think that did really impact his bottom line because he
Making it
made it
hardcover?
an oversized hardcover, no less.
Yeah.
But I pushed that. I mean, I wanted that bad, so I was pushing that book hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
also, sorry, for writers, I'm just looking at Caradon's comment
Yeah.
there. For writers, you don't have to do sequential art for the bonus. You could do a 5-page story of prose.
Clint
And only
Stoker did a really cool thing in Downcast where it was just a couple illustrations, right?
Yeah.
That went with like the back history of the lore of his world.
Yeah.
So it only took a couple pieces of art. It looked really cool, and it added a lot of lore to the project.
It doesn't have to be full color. It doesn't have to. I mean, like, there are ways to cut those expenses. Like I said, work to your strengths. If you're not an artist, then putting out, a 7-page sequential extra comic book might not be in your wheelhouse, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
More good stuff.
like I said, work to your strengths.
All right, guys. We've gone past the hour mark. As usual, I've got to get to some work on my end, but I do want to give everyone a chance to shout out something. Captain Fuckhead, what have you got for us? I know you have a cool show coming up.
Tonight on Comic Mark's channel, we are. Well, they are. I am not this evening. I am having the night off.
Nice.
They are celebrating another British creator with the name of Ross Bamfield, who's got his book Shadow Obsidian. He's a fairly new creator to ComicsGate. He's on the 2nd edition of his book. He's already completed and fulfilled one campaign over on Kickstarter, and then brought it to Indiegogo. The book's so they're giving that a bit of a shout out.
Nice.
Tonight. Tomorrow night, 5 p.m. EST on my show, I have Zaid Comics coming on.
Nice, dude. I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so am I. I've been wanting to speak to those two for ages because the dynamic between... I want to know how they work together more than anything else because
Yeah.
I could not work with my brother for fuck. I'd end up punching the shit out of him.
Right. And I think, again, it goes back to what Smiling Bandito was saying. Like, rather than just... Of course, there's going to be a point where you just go through the campaign page and talk about it that way. But, you found an interesting thing to focus on. How is it working with your brother? Like, exploring that. That's where we can get more entertainment. It's how we get to know the creators more. That's good.
Do you want to know
stuff.
why I came up with that format for that show?
Yeah.
I'm learning. I want people to tell me. And I thought, well, just tell me on air.
Yeah, exactly.
Just tell me on air. Then I get to learn. I can record it. I've got a back catalogue of things I can go and rewatch to make sure that I'm absorbing the right information. Like it's not really rocket science, but yeah, it works. And the other show, I just want to know what the fans are looking forward to because that gives me a broader indication of what people are actually wanting in ComicsGate.
Yeah. Cool stuff, Mitchell. What you got? You want to shout out anything?
Yeah, I'm shouting out the email list for Tales from the Natverse, man. Coming out from Sim. It's going to be awesome. He's got some killer stretch goals in the works, man. And his artwork is just looking amazing on the sign-up page, as always.
Yeah. And he, I think he closed down. Blood Hunt has officially been closed down. So, yeah, Tales from the Natverse is going to be the next big thing from Sim. And for those that may have missed Blood Hunt, I do believe you'll have a second chance at it on that campaign. So good stuff. Gargoyle, you got anything for us?
Back Foreign Agent by Narwhal.
Oh,
Always.
so good.
Always.
It's so
What
good.
is he almost at $40,000? Or is it $50,000?
I haven't checked in a while. I wouldn't surprise.
It should be a 6-figure campaign. Like the brilliance of Narwhal. We are going to be looking back on that guy like we look back on
35.
like the Secret of Nim or these amazing projects that came out that kind of define the moment that they're in. And
Yeah.
I think Narwhal's, he's going to be like Mouse. He's going to be like, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
genius.
man. I actually just gave away. I had a contest running for I don't know, a few months now, to give away a free hardcover edition of Foreign Agent, and that went to Purple Smurf 13. So they were
Oh,
really
that guy's
excited. They're
sick.
gonna. So yeah, that I'm just so excited. We got to do more to push Narwhal's stuff, man. That guy,
Yeah.
he does. He deserves more attention.
Foreign Agent is the best book in CG as far as I'm concerned so far.
Yeah.
Hail.
yeah. Smiling
it's
Bandito,
outstanding.
you wanna shout out anything for us?
of course.
right.
Currently, I'm hanging out with Michael Bancroft on his stream. So definitely go check out his channel. He's got some good entertainment going on over there.
Good.
And also check out his book, The Lucent. He is storming 20,000K.
Yes.
And he's trying to figure out his next stretch goal. He's already got a really cool cover with a UV finish, kind of like what War Campaign did, but his cover is designed for this. It looks amazing. It's going to be beautiful. And he's also got a poster showcasing one of the characters and everything that he does, every single image that he puts out. You just want to say, what is going on with them? Like, what is happening there? And you're definitely getting a really good storytelling if the artwork is trying to tell you a story. So definitely go check out his campaign. Definitely go check out his channel. And follow him on Twitter as well if you get the chance.
Yeah, he is definitely someone who is doing it right. Great to see. The Lucent is just so beautiful. What a great project. And what has it gone up like 9,000-10,000 in a matter of a couple days?
No, we were just about to hit 10K. And so now he's, what is he at right now? I have it in Canadian dollars. So
14,879 USD.
So yeah, he's 1/3 of that has come in the last few days.
So awesome. That's great to see.
Look at his
All right,
backers,
guys.
though, too.
Yeah.
Went from like not even 250 to 288, and I think
I
I looked
know.
away for like 3 days.
Yeah.
He's storming. He is storming 20K. And he's got a really good story that he's going to be continuing on. So this is the only time that this cover is going to be on this book. When the overprint is sold out, it's sold out. And he'll still print the story, but I mean, this is the time to get this print. So,
all right, I really enjoyed this brainstorming session. I think it could be something that would be fun to do every once in a while on the show. Hopefully as the channel grows, hopefully we'll get more engagement from different minds, different perspectives. But this was great, and I want to thank the chat for being here. Always contributing and participating. Appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow.
Hail and well met.